Welcome to today's health lesson. Today we are looking at the digestive system. It is very important to understand on how the body is made and on how it operates. And that makes it easier for us to obey the laws of health and also when it comes in the treatment of diseases that have taken the world captive. So today our main focus will be on the digestive system to see the organs that are involved, the function, and also on the things that we need to do in order to keep this system in a good condition. So to begin with, the digestive system is made up of different organs. It is organs that make up the system. So in digestive system, we see that there is the mouth, there is the pharynx, there is the esophagus, there is the stomach, we have the small intestines, which is in parts. We are going to see that. We have also the large intestine, we have the rectum, and also the anus. So these are the parts that makes up the digestive system. We have also what we call the accessory organs. So these accessory organs are the liver, the pancreas, the gallbladder. So these, they play a major role also in digestive system. These are called accessory organs. They just assist in digestive system. So let's begin with the mouth. And before we begin that, there's a greater emphasis placed on the part of physiology. We as a people, we need to understand the physiology of the human body. In the spirit of prophecy, we find that there are a lot of quotations that are encouraging us to understand that physiology is very, very important. Every child should understand about these matters. You know, health matters serve as the entering wedge. It is the right hand of the gospel. When you teach somebody about health matters, the time that you're going to present about the message of the hour, it will be easier. So these works should not be separated. They work hand in hand. No wonder today we are having these health matters. So let's now begin with the mouth. So we see that the mouth plays a major role in physical digestion, mechanical digestion. We know to say in the mouth there is teeth, and these have been given to us for breaking down food. And when you go in the spirit of prophecy, in the books, Healthy Living, on the part which talks about the digestive system, and also other references such as Counsels on Diet and Food, Counsels on Health, Ministry of Healing, the Medical Ministry, and other books, we see that mastication must take place in the mouth. Proper chewing must take place in the mouth. There must be a breaking down of food properly in the mouth. Failure to do that, there'll be a lot of problems that may come as a result of not having proper mastication, proper chewing. So that is the principle that you need to keep in the mind as you are eating the food. There must be the breaking down of food properly in the mouth before it enters into the esophagus. So there must be that breaking down of food in the mouth so that the food and the saliva, they mix well, so that you don't have the problems such as indigestion where the food is failing to digest, because that saliva, it does a great work once the food, it reaches in the stomach. We know to say in the stomach there is hydrochloric acid. There's an acid there. So if there is no proper mastication, we see that such a one is going to have problems to do with the digestive system. And to be very honest with you, brothers and sisters, these conditions that people are having today, is as a result of neglect on the part of keeping the laws of health. People do not understand. People don't know on how to live. It's our duty to educate them. The issues to do with ulcers, gastritis, cancers of the stomach, there are only two things that enters in the body. We can say three things, including, you see, medicines, water, and food. These are the things that enter in the body through the mouth. So keep that in the mind. So whatever we take inside the body has a great impact. If we take things that are not okay, expect to say the body is not also going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. So we need to be very mindful of what we take inside the mouth. What we drink matters. What we eat matters. So we see that once we follow these principles that we're going to be discussing as we are discussing this digestive system, it is going to help you in life to prevent yourself from these diseases such as ulcers, gastritis, stomach cancers or gastric cancers, and many other problems such as malabsorption, achalasia, GERD, that is gastroesophageal reflux disease. In other words, heartburn. These are common things that people are having today. But if proper examination was to be done, you're going to find that it is as a result of not obeying the principles of health. So we see that in the mouth, there must be proper mastication before the food proceeds to the next part. We have also the pharynx. The pharynx also does a great wonder. From there, we see that it enters into the esophagus, the long tube. Esophagus is also called the food pipe. The food pipe. We see that the food passes through the esophagus. And this esophagus, it takes the food now to the stomach. It connects the esophagus to the stomach. So we see that also on the part of, swallowing. You see, we need to be at ease. We should not be eating very fast. Brothers and sisters, on this part here, there are two tubes. There is what we call the windpipe, the trachea, which is in front. And also, we see that there is also the esophagus, which is behind. Get that one right. The trachea is in front. And that is the windpipe that connects to the lungs. It branches into two. That is the bronchi to the lungs. And we know to say that is the windpipe. Only wind passes there. We have also the esophagus, which is behind the trachea. So we see that esophagus, its work is for transporting food and water. It's a passage that allows food to pass to the stomach. So we see that if someone is eating very quickly, very fast, you see, water can even enter into the windpipe, and that can cause even death. So when you are eating, be mindful to be eating slowly, just like that. It's very important. So we see that on the same part, you are going to find that on top there's what we call the epiglottis. So that epiglottis, it is the one that controls if you are swallowing something, if it is the food, the epiglottis is going to close the windpipe, which is the trachea. At the same time, it is going to open the esophagus to allow that food to pass. And then on the other hand, when you are breathing, you're going to find that when you're taking in air, the epiglottis is going to close the food pipe, which is the esophagus, and to allow the wind to enter or the air to enter into the trachea. That is how this epiglottis does. So if someone is, eating very fast, this part is irritated. So if water enters into the trachea, even death can come, because that part is designed only, it was created only to allow the passage of air, not food, not water. So let's proceed now. So we see that the esophagus, it does a great work in allowing the passage of food to the stomach. So there must be consideration when it comes on the part of swallowing. So let's proceed to the stomach. So we see that the stomach is one of the organs that is mainly abused. The stomach, it is the organ that is abused mostly, because we know to say in the stomach there is a temporal storage of food before the food proceedeth to another part, which is the small intestines, where we see the absorption of food taking place. So we see that this is the organ that a lot of people abuse, and we see that the brain and the stomach are closely connected. They are closely connected. Get that point lightly. So we see that when someone is overeating, overeating is not good. It's a serious evil. You're going to find that that's the reason why people are having problems. Because the more you overeat, the more your stomach is going to be increasing in the size. Because, you know, even the stomach has a limit where it reaches. But you find that some people, they don't control appetite. They just eat what they eat, what they want. They drink what they want. They don't control their appetite. And that is what the devil is doing. So overeating should be avoided. Overeating is a serious evil. So overeating should be avoided. If we want to have good health, overeating should be avoided strictly. The other thing, eating in between meals. Eating between meals should be avoided. The stomach is like other parts. It needs also rest. But you're going to find that someone is eating continuously. Find that in the morning, someone is eating. After 1 hour, someone is eating. That is sin in the sight of God. You are breaking the laws of health. And we are told very clear, breaking the laws of health is same as breaking the 10 commandments. It's very clear. So we see that this matter should be taken seriously. So we say that eating between meals should be avoided. And we say that 5 to 6 hours should pass between each meals. So if you eat in the morning, you should count 5 to 6 hours. Then you add another meal. You eat. After you eat, again, it should pass 5 to 6 hours. You know, there are 3 meals, but the recommended one, it is 2 meals. That is according to what is written in the spirit of prophecy. 2 meals will be better. And when you're starting the journey, make sure that you put something that is going to cover you on the day. You're walking a long journey. You're on the long journey. You're in the morning. So make sure that you put something in the stomach that is going to keep you running, so that the fuel doesn't end along the way. So get that point, brothers and sisters. So 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours should elapse, should pass between meals. So during this time, you need to make sure that you just need to be taking water, so that you are cleansing the body. So on the part also of taking meals with water also should be avoided. These are simple instructions to avoid peptic ulcers, gases, and many other problems, even cancers. These are simple instructions that you not be told at the hospitals. These are simple instructions that you need to follow. We have a lot of testimonies people are giving after receiving such messages. Simple instructions to say, brother, I'm okay. So these are principles that we need to implement if we want to have good health, especially to those of gases, ulcers, and many more. So we see that when it comes to the part of, drinking water, it is recommended 1 hour before eating meals. If you want to take water before eating, you can take that water 1 hour. The best water to take, it is warm water, because that warm water, it is going to meet the temperature of the stomach. In short, that water is going to be absorbed quickly than cold water. So 1 hour before meals, it is recommended. If you want to drink water after meals, it should be 2 hours, because digestion takes 2 hours for the food to be digested. So you need to give that room for the food to be digested. After that, after 2 hours, start taking water so that you prevent from constipation. You prevent yourself from constipation, because constipation is the beginning of all these other diseases. Talk about the intestinal obstruction. We see a lot of people being operated in the hospitals today as a result of having their intestines blocked by fecal matters. And you're going to find that even the intestines, they do what? They do interlock. We can say that they are obstructed to the point whereby it prevents the passage of the fecal matters. And that is what we call the intestinal obstruction. And it's one of the leading causes. And people are being operated. If these things were known to the people, it would be of great help. So on the part of eating meals and water should be avoided. Instructions are so clear. In the books, counsels on health, counsels on diet and food, and many more. The other thing, we have talked already about overeating. The other thing, when we eat the food, we should avoid reading there and there. We should avoid that, because the mind, the brain, and the stomach, they are closely connected. So when one is reading after just eating, after eating, you're going to find that there will be delay in digestion, because the brain needs to coordinate with the stomach in breaking down the food. We know to say there are nerves that are connected there. And we know to say the vagus nerve and also other nerves, they play a major role in the digestive system. The vagus nerve, that is in the nervous system. So we see that reading after eating is not recommended. It's not recommended, because there'll be delay in digestion. So we see that that is the reason why we are saying to say this stomach is mainly abused. You find that someone is from eating, after some few minutes, he has another thing. The stomach needs to rest. Another point to consider, late suppers are not good. Late suppers are not good, because it is also the contributing factor of bad dreams, dreaming in the night. And also find that someone is dreaming, is being chased, because the stomach is not resting, it is working. So we see that during the time of the night, as we are sleeping, the stomach should have its work completed before going to sleep. So we should be eating early, so that we allow the food to be digested. The time that we are going to the bed, we should make sure that the stomach, its work is completed. That way, we are going to have a good health. So we need to keep well the stomach, because if the stomach is kept on continuous running, continuous motion, it is just working, not even resting, You find that someone will have cancer. Even when the machine is just working, it's not resting. One day it is going to break down. Even the stomach, one day it is going to break down. So these are points that we need to put them into action. This message is so important to us. So greater emphasis has been placed on the stomach because that is where the storage, the temporal storage of food happens. And not to say in the stomach there's hydrochloric acid. That acid needs to work on the food. And to say that acid is naturally there to kill the germs and bacteria that may be found in the food and many more. So we see that we need to allow hydrochloric acid to take place. The only ones that are recommended to take some water with food, there are those who are hyper, those who have too much hydrochloric acid being produced in their stomach. Those are the ones that are recommended to take meals with water. Only those. If you know to say your stomach is just okay with no issues, please maintain the hours of drinking water. 2 hours after meals or 1 hour before meals. So let's proceed to another organ, which is the small intestines. So we see that the small intestines is also in 3 parts. We have the duodenum, we have the jejunum, and also we have the ileum. So these are 3 parts that makes up the small intestines. So it's a coiled tube. It's a coiled tube. The small intestines. That is where we see that the absorption of nutrients takes place. So that is about the small intestines. Just be brief. So what determines is what food you have taken in and the nutrients that are being found in the food. They're going to be absorbed in the bloodstream. So we see that whatever we take inside the body is being converted into the blood. And the perfect health depends upon perfect circulation. So what we take inside the body matters. If you take toxic substances, toxic food, you're going to find that you're going to be affected. The blood is going to be corrupted. And you know what, brothers and sisters? The matter of eating flesh, feeding on dead carcasses, meat eating is a dangerous matter. You will not be told at the hospital to say meat eating is not good. It's not good. It's a contributing factor of cancers in the world that we are living in. Cancers such as stomach cancers, pancreatic cancers, the colon cancers, rectal cancer. It is as a result of feeding on flesh, feeding on dead carcasses that are being sold at the market. And we see that this message of health reform has come to the church today. But we see that the people are not taking this message so serious. It's high time, brothers and sisters, that we need to go back to the original diet that God gave to Adam and Eve. Take note of that. So let's proceed. So we see that whatever we take in the body, it is converted into the blood. And these matters to do with hypertension, to do with the matters of, the high blood pressure, that is hypertension, to do also with the part of, and also the part of the heart problems, such as, the other problems, such as we can say the atherosclerosis. Yeah, these are the problems that affects the blood vessels. Take note of that. So these are the points that affects the body. So we see that we need to be very mindful of what we take inside the body. We have also what we call the large intestines. Large intestines, that is where we see that the production of fecal matters is being formed. And not to say the large intestines has parts also. We have what we call the ascending colon, the ascending large intestine. We have also the transverse colon. We have also the descending colon, and also have the sigmoid, which connects with the rectum. So that is how the fecal matter moves until it is taken out of the body. So we see that these are the parts of the large intestine, and we see that many cancers affect this part. They affect this part. In addition to that, we see that there's also what we call the rectum. That is where we see there's also the temporal storage of fecal matter before it is being expelled outside the body. So when we talk about the large intestines, we see that that is where we see if someone fails to be drinking water, constipation is going to set in. There'll be that blockage. Those fecal matters will be hardened. They'll be hard, whereby someone fails to expel those fecal matters. As a result, constipation will set in. As a result of that, we see intestinal obstruction will come in, and many other problems. Even the rupture of intestine can happen. The blockage can lead to the rupture of or tearing of the intestines because there's too much pressure in the large intestines. In addition to that, we see that the rectum, when there's constipation, someone is failing to remove the fecal matters, we see that there is also what we call the hemorrhoids, the piles. They'll come in. And when we talk about hemorrhoids, these are just extended veins, the distended veins. Find that the veins are distended, there is too much pressure on the veins, and that is what we call the piles. So what is going to happen? There'll be that straining. When someone is straining as a result of, constipation, someone may have hemorrhoids. That is how hemorrhoids come. And you can see that all these things has to do with the food and water. Once we just work on that, brothers and sisters, we will not have hemorrhoids. We will not have ulcers, gases, and cancers that we are able to see today. So in addition to that, we see that from the rectum, the food is being, that fecal matter is being expelled out of the body through the anus. So that is how it works. That is how the food is taken inside the body through the mouth, and then after it works in the body, it is being removed out of the body as fecal matter through the anus, the anal region. So mark those points, brothers and sisters. Okay, so in addition to that, we see that we mentioned about the accessory organs. So the accessory organs, they do also the great work, such as the liver. The liver is one of the largest organ in the body, and it is the organ that should be taken care of. We need to take care of the liver because liver does the great work. The storage of vitamin A, D, E, K happens in the liver, and also the metabolism happens in the liver. And also we see that certain hormones are also produced in the liver, and also many more. Carbohydrate metabolism happens in the liver, the breaking down of carbohydrates, fats, and these other. Liver does a great work, and also on the part of detoxification. Okay, mark those points with care. Okay, the other thing is that the liver, it covers a large part, and it is on the right side of the body. And whatever we take in the body, the liver has a great work to do. There are a lot of functions of the liver. We are just being brief so that you get something, brothers and sisters. You get something. We have also what we call the pancreas. The pancreas produces what we call the insulin and the glucagon. So we see that this insulin, it does the great wonder in regulating the blood sugar levels to maintain the normal blood sugar levels. That is what it does in the body. So when there is defect or there is something wrong with the pancreas, when maybe the insulin is not produced, maybe the insulin is there but the body is not acting on it, that can lead to what we call diabetes mellitus, DM. So you can see that these things are just connected. And when you see all these things, it's just a matter of what we eat and what we take inside the body. You know, these diseases that they are there in this world, we say that they're just self-created. We just create them on our own. So mark those points, brothers and sisters. So you see that pancreas, it does the great work. If there's too much sugar in the blood, it is the work of insulin to work, natural insulin to work inside the body to reduce blood sugar levels. And also we see that there is what we call the glucagon. When there is low blood sugars in the body, it is the work of glucagon to take the stored glucose, which is stored in the liver and also in the adipose tissues under the skin, to where it is needed, so that there's that balance in the normal blood sugar levels. So any defect on the part of insulin, it leads to what we call sugar disease, diabetes mellitus. So we see that pancreas does the great work in producing these hormones. So those are the points that you need to consider. In addition to that, we have also the gallbladder. And also the gallbladder, it does the great work. It's one of the accessory organs that works in the body. So this is the general view, and the principles have been given on how we can keep this system in a good condition. You are what you eat, brother, sister. You are what you eat. Work on your diet. Work on what you take inside the body, because it matters most. It's time that, brothers and sisters, we need to prevent diseases. It is better to prevent disease than to know how to treat it when it is contracted. I'm telling you, when it comes on the part of treatment, it is only God. We can say 50-50. When someone has a problem, such a person can survive or someone can die. So it's better to prevent disease. That is what is needed here. And it's high time that we need to make sure that we obey the principles of healthy. God bless you, and may we put what we have learned into practice.